And it's very dangerous to do ministry because there is an opportunity. Can I repeat my statement? It is dangerous to do ministry because there is an opportunity. Ministry is not opportunistic. Ministry is calling. It's not opportunistic. You don't preach because there is an opportunity to preach. You preach because you are called to preach. And unfortunately, a lot of ministers, they preach because there is an opportunity. They don't have the calling. You can even see it. And so damage begins to be the order of the day because the person ministering has no calling. It's like when we begin to race, marathon, long marathon. Huh? You will tell that the people of Rift Valley have the calling. And these ones of the mountain, they have prophecy. Let's just leave it there. I will not touch it. But you will notice something. When it comes to resources, these ones of the mountain, it's like they can wake up, they can sell. You know, let me tell you, if a guy from the mountain sells you property, you will buy it even if you didn't want it. Nukweda mugoda. Fari mugoda mwaku, mugoda uwo, mugoda nice. What I'm saying is that when they sell you property, they have a way of magnifying even something that the property. In fact, they even tell you the layers of sand there. Do you see here? Layer 1, mahindi, maize. If you remove that sand, layer 2, potatoes. They know layers and they have never dug themselves. They just come and see. Because there is something that those people have. If you go to Turkana, you will notice they can survive under strict condition that if you take a mountain guy, he will die at arrival. Because there is an inbuilt mechanism that they carry that makes the territory to bow at their presence. You see, when you are born for that thing, nature speaks on your behalf. Nature will tell the people, touch him not. That man is anointed, leave him. Leave that woman, leave her, she's anointed. That's why there are people, when they take an idea, a business idea, they just take an idea and look at it. If you meet that person in 6 months, they are millionaires. Where? You even have free money, free Wi-Fi, free ideas. You cannot change it into anything. You know why? Because there is a grace that is not at work. Actually, the Bible says, according to the measure of grace. Grace is measured. Not everyone is graced the same. According to the measure. It can only happen according to the measure. One of my friends here, we were discussing something, and me and him had decided we are going to learn something, a system. Then he now went ahead of me to attempt to learn the system. Then yesterday he brought me a report. He said, John C., that thing needs grace. He said the way they code those things, he was just left saying, here, C chord, D chord, you are just saying, the chords I know is for a pianist. Because there is no grace. There is a measure of grace that if you find it, you know, grace is an empowerment from another realm that makes you function supernaturally. That what the average person can do in 10 years, when grace comes upon that man, it makes you do it in 2. And I know personally as John C.W., Jehovah has graced me because where I came from, there are no opportunities. I am the least to ever get to the little place I've gotten. To stand and speak to a nation is not something you try it. Then after you are finished, you can't even listen to yourself. Because there is no grace. So grace is a dependency. Grace is an empowerment that you depend on. You know very well you can't, but grace tells you you can. It's a superior muscle. It's a masculinity from another realm. Many people don't have this. And so the average leader doesn't take time to study himself, to study what he's graced for. If I ask you, you want to go and open a church, what are you graced for? Just by looking at you preach, I can tell. What are you graced for? Men like David was graced to Lord, to king a generation. Men like Samuel were graced to prophesy to a generation. What are you graced for? Ezekiel and John were graced to enter into the courts of heaven and see things before they die. What are you graced for? Jeremiah was a weeping prophet. Anything he asked God, Jehovah gave him, because there was a measure of grace at work. Any leader that attempts to do anything without discovering the measure of grace at work, you're just wasting your time. You first of all sit with yourself. This is why you notice Jesus asked the woman, what do I have to do? And that's your mother. It's not time. He knew it. Grace. And you will notice 30 years he was a carpenter. 3 years he was salvation. Because when it comes to grace, it takes time to build you. The root is what grace focuses on. Can I repeat that statement? The root is what grace focuses on. You want to focus on the shoot. So you are building in a hurry. You are building in a hurry. You don't take time to study the storm based on this route I'm taking. What are the storms that I might encounter? You know, before I started speaking to the nation, not to the church, to the nation, I checked the route and then I tried to check what type of storms might come. What scandals might come. What this might come. I tried to look. You don't just enter and start saying, hey, utapigwa hapo na kitu moja. Because you are just talking. You didn't understand the measure. Then you now begin to look, based on this measure of grace, what are the things I might encounter? How do I behave in this realm? Who should I not be seen with? Who should I be seen with? At what point should I be talking this? You study everything. Don't just wake up and say, I have the word from the Lord. I have a word from the Lord. Everyone has a word from Lord, because Lord, he said, is the Lord of Lords. It might be these other lords here. It is given to each one of us according to the measure of, given to us according to the measure of Christ's gift. That's the grace of God. So God is the one that comes and looks at you. He's the one that created you. He says, you, this is what you do for me. You, this is what you do for me. You, this is what you do for me. Now, what is the danger? Jealousy comes in when you don't know God and what God called you to do. That's what gives birth to jealousy. Then you begin to look at another person. Look at another person. Yet the one that is giving us the measure is Christ. Everyone here has what you are supposed to do for God. We are not the same. I've seen a preacher hear me minister, and then you send me a message. You say, man of God, be careful. You know, we as a church, we are not as a church. That scripture tells you, let me explain to you. Assuming we are bananas, many of you think because we are called church, we are bananas. The variation of fruits tells you that we have the fruits, that you will know them by their fruit. My fruit is what makes you know me. I'm not you. Your fruit is mango. My fruit is banana. Her fruit is avocado. But we are all fruits. When I was starting, someone told me, man of God, so that you can at least prosper in what you're doing, you must meet a man that is established and be seen with him. You know, I've been stubborn from the time I was young. I asked the Lord to help me. So the person told me, if you're seen with this man, so what you do, go serve him to be seen around him. You're not serving him because God told you, just to be seen around him. Then use his authentication to now branch out and do something for yourself. This is an advice from a senior minister of the gospel. So I went home. I was excited. I was even ready. I was ironing. Then I said, wait. Let me hear the message he's preaching. I had a message. We used to go with my family and sit down and hide years back in a church just to sit. I didn't have a ministry, so I would just sit and listen. And we had camouflage and no one knew us. Back at the seat there. There was a place I was invited to minister. I was the guest minister, and I came and no one knew me. I'm entering, I'm meeting the usher. The usher is showing me a seat at the cameraman, and I'm the guest. These are the things I've seen. I even was the usher, even after telling the usher, I don't know if they remember, after telling the usher said, let me confirm. There is prophecy over me. I cannot give up now. I laughed. I told the Lord, Jehovah, now forget churches. Nations will look for me. I left. I would sit and listen. And I went, after the service, I would go to God. I say, Lord, you must help me. I think I have a problem. The person is saying, wah, but me, I'm hearing, wah, 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 wah. Why am I not hearing? What's the problem with my head? What's my problem? I was very honest and genuine. I was genuine. I didn't know something had entered me. And the type of fruit I was giving birth, that was not my mentor. And every time I presented my case, they summarized it for pride. Every time I presented my case, one removed snake, I genuinely went to ask, what is the strategy? So that when I start ministry, I can remove them. I was genuine. The person looked at me and said, uko na kiburi. And I was chased from church. Just because I asked. So I came to know, I started becoming big. And you see what is the problem of the church? The church is not trained to accommodate big men. The church is trained to accommodate weaklings and people that just say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. No challengers in the spirit. I decided I'm going to take a part where a few men take. I decided I'm going to say it. If we die, we die. If we live, we live. What is my life? What will not happen because I'm dead? I'm nothing. So I decided I'm going to choose to die. So this is my ministry. It is a dead ministry. It is a ministry you minister dead. No political agenda, no social agenda, no financial agenda. You are just dead. You minister for the interest of Yahweh. That you will not do anything because you are going to be a capitalist. That you are not trying to gain from the very people that Jehovah has told you to lift. It became a selfless, eternal agenda. And I started the work 16 years ago. And I can tell you till today, only one statement. God is faithful. Finally, when the Lord told me where to start ministry, the angel came to me. I don't know about you, and I'm not saying the angel must come to you. No. I'm not teaching a pattern. When the Lord told me it's time to start a ministry, I was in Matu, Ukambani. I didn't want anything to do with ministry. I said, ministry, go. Me, I just want to be a son. Don't want ministry. Ministry is hurting. People misunderstand you. You die for people. They will kill you. I said, I don't want ministry. So I took my family, went to the village, and I stayed there for 4 years. I waited for God. I would have meetings in my dream. I saw myself teaching powerfully. When I woke up, I said, I was running. It took an angel to arrest me. It was at 4:30 in the morning. That morning I woke up, called my friend, The things I had fit in a, there is a pickup and then there is a Umu pickup. Yeah, like, those two small ones. I don't know if anyone knows it. The chassis is smaller. They were normally in the village. The 1200. You know them? This Mzee is almost 70. I like him. Where? Uko 20. And you are. Someone is almost 70. You see the energy to preach. He tells me I've not started. I've not started. You only have makeup. You know me, if I was not married and I want to marry, I will check your energy. Because if in the church you are like this, now what will happen in the house? See where you mean? Oh, me I can't. Cannot. Me, let me tell you. Me, I don't like being bothered. I like living a simple life. Don't bother me. The minute you bother me, I cut you off. I don't like it. The burden is Christ, not you. And if you're a minister of the gospel and you don't know that, you will carry many people that are going nowhere. So a journey you are to achieve in 2 years, you achieve in 10 because you have 540 people that are bringing you back. Can't see what you are seeing, can't know what you are knowing. Let me not say that thing I wanted to say. But you see, at the end of the day, you are not listening. What am I saying? Huh? No, that's not what I said. I knew it. Nilijua, don't say about you only have makeup and don't say about the burden is Christ. What was I saying? Huh? Amujui. Took my family and went. I came to the city at Hilton and I stood and I said, Lord, I'm here. What do I do? He didn't answer. I knew I was going to almost die, so I called my brother and told him to help me. He gave me a sitting room to sleep. Now he has a house. Those are parables for some people. When I finished, I asked the Lord, can you show me the word? What am I going to tell the people? And if it was going to be anything I'm hearing I don't want, tell your neighbor, you are running. We can do all that. We don't preach this way because we don't know that tactic. I can decide to come here and fire you. Then I take money from you. I can manipulate it. What Paul was saying, that you can manipulate Peter. You can manipulate the preachings of Paul. One of the most manipulated teachings of Paul was grace. Very manipulated in our generation. We are not under the law. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can you now kill? No, you are not under the law. Okay, can you now kill? What about stealing? What about coveting? So what are you saying? Do you even know what Paul is saying to be under? He's talking about umbrella. That the things of God will no longer need this is not the umbrella to use. Grace now is the umbrella. That when the rain rains, the umbrella there is grace. It does not talk about what you are saying. So we manipulate the teachings of Paul. We manipulate them, and a lot of us are here. And I can teach that. I know how to do it. I have the gift of wooing spirits. That's why I use it with S, spirits. Angelic spirits that I know they can touch people, and then that touch can make you throw a shilling here. I can do that. But I can tell you, there is no reward for such men. I want a job that will be rewarded at the end of the day. I don't want to work for nothing. I want to be rewarded. I want to run a race worthy of a reward. I want to receive a crown at the end of life. That when I pass in heaven, that will be called a warrior of the Spirit. I want to use my sword and swing it for God's glory. Even the sword of the Spirit. I want to use my helmet of salvation to bring as many. The Bible says, he that wins souls shall be wise. That's salvation. I want to use my breastplate of righteousness to draw darkness out of a generation. I want to use the gospel, the feet of the gospel, to chart a course for a generation. I want to use the belt of truth to say only what God says. So help me God. But you see, a lot of people are using godly things for personal gain.